to share the story of this buck I shot in 2024. I called him the TikTok buck. 2024 was a super cool year. I was actually able to get in the woods in October in a spot that I hunt in the city of Atlanta and was able to take a pretty good buck. And after I took that buck, I wanted to be very selective with the last tag that I had remaining. So I took my time. I really tried to pinpoint a good buck to go after. I had several good ones in Fulton, but just nothing that really was worthy of my last tag. So fast forward to December, and I'm actually sitting at home one day, and when I'm sitting there, I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I see this video that this lady had shared of this big buck in her backyard, and he was very unique. He had a really cool wonky rack, and I thought to myself, man, I wish I knew where this video was shot, because this would be such a cool deer to go after. But I didn't, so I had to get to researching. I was actually able to locate, based off this video, a general area where I thought the video was taken. So the next day, which would have been Saturday, I load up, I drive to this town. It's about an hour from me. I've never stepped foot in it, don't know much about it. It's a suburb of Atlanta, and I go boots on the ground. All right, I just drove out to this property. I'm about to knock on this guy's door and see if I can gain permission. This is one of the main pieces that I feel like this deer is probably traveling through. Real thick. There's a creek that runs through there, so I'm gonna go in here and knock on this guy's door and see if I can get permission. But I wore a collared shirt, try to look a little nice. I don't ever like to knock on a door just wearing full camo. That's just kind of a tip I'm gonna give y'all, but I'm gonna go up and knock on this door and see how it goes. Y'all wish me luck. Heck yeah, baby, I got permission. He told me it was cool if I put a camera up, just to make sure to put it up on the back side of the property. I told him I'd let him know when I was gonna be in there hunting, but I got permission, so we're good to go. I'm gonna put the camera up in this spot, see if we can get a picture of this buck. So once I was able to secure permission to go on this guy's property, I went in with a book bag and a camera, threw a camera out on the creek system, kind of where I thought there was a good chance deer would be moving. And I put the camera out, and I go home that night, Saturday night, and it was just time to wait. So I wake up Sunday morning, I'm getting some stuff ready at the house, and my trail camera goes off, and then this is the picture that it gives me. And as you can tell, that's the buck I was after, which kind of blew me away that the first deer that I got on camera was the buck that I was actually trying to target. So then I had to tell my wife, hey, I got to load up all my stuff. I got to go straight back and go talk to this guy that I door knocked. So I went back, I secured the permission to hunt, and I was actually scouting the area before I went in with binoculars, and I determined that there was a couple deer bedded not too far from where I had the camera set up. So I had to be very sneaky when I was getting in there. It was a high wind day, it was raining. It was pretty cool, I think like 40 degrees. So I was very selective with how I was gonna enter. And believe it or not, there was a creek, and I determined that the best way to access these deer were gonna be to try to cross this creek and just set up right on the edge of the creek bank. Well, I didn't have any water boots with me that day, so I thought, well, I'll just run to the store that's right up the street, and I'll grab some trash bags, and I'll slide a trash bag, old school, on each leg, and I'll wade across the creek. So I get in there, I've got bow in one hand, I've got my stand in the other, and I start across this creek. Well, of course, about 2 steps in, I sink all the way up to my chest, soaking wet, freezing cold. But at that point, I was in there. I knew there was a good chance the buck was there. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay and hunt. So I climb out of the creek bank. I find a tree not too far from the camera and the main trail that I thought these deer would be coming back out of this evening. And I decided to set up there. All right, I just got set up in the tree. It was quite the fiasco to get in here. I fell in the creek, I'm soaking wet. But I don't love the tree that I'm in, but it was kind of slim picking up here. I got about a 25-yard shot to the corn, to the cut lane. I'll show you. So once I got set up in the stand, it was around noon. I knew I had a long sit ahead of me that day. I was wet, it was cold, but there was a doe that had been in there that morning with the buck, and after sitting for about 3 hours, I see the doe coming down the trail, so I'm like, okay, it's about to go down. The GoPro was very low on battery. I actually didn't get much footage until the deer was right on me. Once he got on top of me, I was able to turn the GoPro on right before I was able to take the shot. So once I shot this buck, I wasn't too sure really about how the shot was. I felt good about it, but then he kind of just trotted off and stood there. So I was kind of worried on how the shot went down, and was it going to be a lethal shot? Was he going to run? I'm not familiar with this area. It was getting close to dark, so I elected that I was probably going to go ahead and get down. But before I could get down, the deer comes back by me again, and when he goes by, I can see some blood pumping. So I felt a lot better about the shot after that, and the deer actually goes out of sight to my left, and I keep looking. I don't see anything. I sit there for a few minutes, And then out of nowhere, directly in front of me, I see the deer come back out of the bamboo and crash into the creek. And I thought, okay, well, that's probably all she wrote, you know? And out of nowhere, the deer gets back up, and I mean, he's having a hard time breathing. You can see he was definitely hurt bad, but he starts back down the creek. So when the deer starts back down the creek, I decided it's probably better for me to go ahead and pack up and get down and see if I can, you know, sneak up on this deer and get another arrow in him. I climbed down. I was able to walk down the easement that was there. And when I get down to the creek, I look everywhere and I can't find this buck. And, you know, I feel very confident after seeing him run by with blood coming out that it was a lethal shot, especially after he was acting the way he was in the creek. But I was actually able to find the deer. He was face down in the creek. All you could see was his tail sticking up. It took me about 10 or 15 minutes to really realize that that was him. And then it was time to go swimming. So then I was happily ready to go back into the cold water. I swam down in there. I was able to get the buck. I actually had to call a couple buddies because this deer was about 8 years old. He was extremely heavy. I wasn't able to get him out of the bank by myself, but I waited on a couple buddies. We were able to get the deer drug out. I met a couple other homeowners, and we were able to close the chapter on the TikTok buck. So I just wanted to share that story with y'all. It was a very unique hunt. Come to find out, a lot of people had actually been trying to get on this deer all year. And, you know, just luck and the grace of God, I was able to find him in one day and kill him the next day, which is, it never happens like that. If you're a hunter, you know that. But I was actually able to build a relationship with the homeowner that shot the original video, and now we text back and forth, and I've still got that permission spot. So we'll see what happens this year in that particular town and area where I was at. But just such a cool hunt, man, a unique buck. This deer scored 151 inches. They think he's 7, 8 years old. The other hunters that have been hunting him, just an old bruiser. He had definitely been hit by a car. You can see in some of the videos he's limping a little bit, but just a stud of a buck. I was super proud and blessed to have taken him, but I wanted to share that with y'all. That was my 2024 season. Got it done in Atlanta twice. So y'all stay tuned for this year. We're going to see what we can get on the ground.